will be giving you my power rankings before the season even starts, which the season starts tomorrow, for all 32 teams in the NFL. Yeah, these are my power rankings, and I don't want to keep you here long, so let's just break it down. We're going to go from number 32 all the way to number 1. So let's start it off. Number 32 in my power rankings for the NFL, we have the New Orleans Saints. They are an absolute dumpster fire just because of their quarterback situation. They still have good players. They still have Alvin Kamara. They still have Chris Olave. Like, they have players. That quarterback situation, though, Spencer Rattler being your starting quarterback is kind of tough. And if he struggles, who are you moving on to? Tyler Shuck? Yeah, I don't like what the New Orleans Saints have this year. They're going to struggle, and they're probably going to be the worst team in the entire league. Next up at number 31, I have the Cleveland Browns. While they still have a very stout defense, it's kind of the same thing with the New Orleans Saints, where, yeah, you have good players, but that quarterback situation, I get that Joe Flacco had a magical run for you, but it's going to get to a point where I think they're going to lose some games, and then they're going to want to move on and see what they have with Dylan Gabriel, and then if he struggles, see what you got with Shedeur Sanders. It's going to be an absolute dumpster fire, I think, for the Cleveland Browns. You have to play in the AFC North. I think they could possibly go defeated in the AFC North going 0-6. I don't like the Cleveland Browns this year. I think they're going to be the second worst team in all of football. And then another team, it's the same type situation, and it's the Colts, where the Colts, again, have good players, but Daniel Jones right now is your starting quarterback, and I think they're going to be going back and forth, seeing what they have with Anthony Richardson, maybe seeing if he's healthy, and if he doesn't perform, can they trade him? It's going to be a weird year for them. They're in a very winnable division, but Daniel Jones being your starting quarterback, I think they're going to try to look for a quarterback of the future in this draft. I just don't like the Colts this year. They have good weapons. They brought in Tyler Warren. But yeah, the Colts are going to be the 30th best team in all of football, which is not very good. Considering they had, high expectations last year. Right below them at number 29, I have the Carolina Panthers. And I like where they're moving. Bryce Young, towards the end of the year last year, made some moves. They have Xavier Legette. They have Chuba Hubbard. They bring in Tedero and McMillan. They have a decent defense. It's just, I still think it's going to take a little bit of time for this team to put it all together and be fully successful. They're not going to win that division. They're not better than the Bucs. They're not better than the Falcons. They are better than the Saints, though. I will give them that, but I think it's going to be a struggle fest for them all year. So I have the Carolina Panthers as the 29 best team in my power rankings. Moving on, we are moving on to the New York Giants, where I think it's going to be a quarterback carousel. They're going to play stout defense. I'm not saying the Giants are going to be bad. I think that the Giants can win 6 games, which, yes, is bad, but for them, with Russell Wilson as your quarterback, you have Jackson Dart, who's waiting in the background to be the starting quarterback, where he just took over the number 2 job from Jameis Winston, which I think Jameis Winston should still be the starter of this team. I think it's going to be a rough go for the Giants having to play in that loaded division. Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, they're cooked. They are absolutely cooked, and that's why I have them as my 28th best team. And then we'll stick with New York for number 27, and it is the New York Jets. They just lost Elijah Vera Tucker. That is a huge blow to them. I like Justin Fields. I like what he can do, but will it be good in this Jet system? I don't know. They bring in Aaron Glenn, which the whole departure with Aaron Rodgers left a bad taste in people's mouths. They obviously, again, have a very good defense. Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall still, Garrett Wilson on the offensive side of the ball. They have players. It's just, is Aaron Glenn going to be able to unlock whatever potential and whatever juice Justin Fields has left in the NFL? Moving on, we are going to the Tennessee Titans. And, I thought about flip-flopping the Jets and the Titans, but I think I like the trajectory more of what the Titans can do this year, given the division that they play in. It's an easy division, all things considered. Cam Ward coming in, Calvin Ridley. I like Tony Pollard. It's going to be a tough year for them, but I think that they actually have more potential to do bigger and better things than the New York Jets this year. So that is where I have the Tennessee Titans. Coming in at number 25 is a team that a lot of people had last year, probably in the top 10. That's the Miami Dolphins. This team is a dumpster fire in every case. I mean, Tua can't stay healthy. Tyreek Hill, there's a lot of drama going on with him. Their defense is just abysmal right now. Their best player is Minkah Fitzpatrick, who has been on the downspin with the Steelers. They trade Jalen Ramsey away for Minkah Fitzpatrick. This team is in shambles right now. I do not like the Miami Dolphins. I honestly could see them being a bottom 5 team in the NFL. They are that freaking bad. Moving on, let's go to number 24, and that is the Raiders. While they are making moves, they have Geno Smith coming in. They're bringing in new head coach Pete Carroll. Ashton Genty is going to be a bell cow. Again, it is just the division that they play in. Max Crosby is one of the best players in all of football. This division that they're playing in, again, is brutal, and it's going to be tough for them to gain momentum when you're playing against the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers. You know, they'll win a game, and then they're going to have to play a division game. They're going to slip up. It's going to be rough going for the Raiders this year. Moving on to a team, number 23, they're on the downspin, in my opinion, all because of the biggest trade that has happened recently, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, you know, it looks like that they have a good offense. What's going on with their defense? And they just lost the heart and soul of their defense, trading away Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, which, spoiler alert, the Green Bay Packers, they're pretty high up there on this list because they are a very good team. But I don't like the Cowboys this year. I actually think that they're going to miss the playoffs, and I can see them going 6-11, 7-10. I think it's going to be a bad year for the Dallas Cowboys. I really, really do. All right, number 22, I am going with a team that I think is on the up and up, and they sneakily have a chance to win this division, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars, where Trevor Lawrence, another year, he's in a better system with Liam Cohen. They get, in my opinion, the best player in the draft in Travis Hunter. Brian Thomas Jr. is a star already in this league. You pair him up with Travis Hunter, where Travis Hunter is listed more as a wide receiver right now than he is as a corner. Mason Graham, they're plugging into that defense. I like the trajectory that the Jags are on, and they sneakily have a chance to win this division. I like where they're going. I think that Liam Cohen is going to be able to unlock something in Trevor Lawrence. They're on the up and up. I really like the Jags this year. Number 21, we are going with the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like every single year, the Atlanta Falcons are that one team that everyone's like, they're a dark horse. They're going to get it done. They'll figure it out. And then they just fold. Last year, everybody had high hopes for them because they were bringing in Kirk Cousins. Didn't work out. He's still on the roster, but they're moving on to Michael Penix Jr. But they have such good talent on the offensive side of the ball. Bijan Robinson is a star in the NFL. Drake London is sneakily a very good wide receiver one in this league. Kyle Pitts, if anything can unlock Kyle Pitts, this team would be awesome. It's just, again, they just never can put it all together. They're one of those teams that I feel you don't want to play, but then once you get into a game with them, you're like, oh, this is easy. We're going to steamroll. So I have them at number 21. At number 20, I am going with the New England Patriots. They are another team that I think can sneakily not win the division because the Buffalo Bills, but they can make strides in the AFC. Mike Vrabel, I think, is unlocking something in this team that they haven't had in a few years. Post Brady, bringing in Mayo as their head coach, possibly the worst head coach we've ever seen in NFL history. Travion Henderson is a star. Stephon Diggs they're bringing in. Another year with Drake London. Christian Gonzalez. This team can make splashes in the AFC. And I'm not saying they're going to win the AFC East, but I'm saying that they could be a wild card team and be one of those scrappy teams that you do not want to see in the playoffs. I like where the Patriots are going right now. Moving on, we are breaking through from the 20s. Number 19, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I again was thinking about flipping them, but in totality, I think I like what the Seahawks have a little bit more. Sam Darnold is more proven than Drake May. Their receiver situation, yes, Stephon Diggs is probably the best out of the bunch if you were going based off of Seattle and the Patriots, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, they have a lot of other weapons. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and they still have a very good defense as well. The Seattle Seahawks, I like them. Not to win the division, but again, to possibly make strides. This is one of those teams that they could either barely miss the playoffs or they'll barely squeeze into the playoffs, and they'll be like a scrappy team you don't want to play. I have the Seattle Seahawks as number 19. A team for number 18. I made a video about them, and I think that they have a potential, and it's just unlocking their quarterback play to make a late push into the playoffs. That is the Arizona Cardinals I have at number 18. You look at what they did on the defensive side of the ball. They have made moves, and they're coming in again with Marvin Harrison Jr., but the key to this team, because we saw before, they have the potential of winning. They went on, a 7-game win streak before, and then they crashed and burned towards the end of the year. But I think that the Cardinals this year are going to be able to figure it out. They're going to make the playoffs. I like Kyler Murray. I can't see this team winning a Super Bowl, but I can see Marvin Harrison Jr. Another season unlocked with Kyler Murray. I like what the Seahawks. I like what the Cardinals can do. I have them as my number 18 team for the power rankings. Number 17, this team up and up. They are, I love it. I absolutely love what they're doing. Offensive side of the ball, new head coach, second-year quarterback, receivers across the board. I love it. The problem is the division that they play in, and that is the Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson, I think, has the potential to win Coach of the Year this year. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a breakout star this second year. They have weapons all across the board. Their defense is very good. Again, the issue is the division that they play in. The Vikings, the Lions, the Bears, the Packers. It is brutal. It is brutal, but I think the Bears, again, are going to be one of those scrappy teams. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be one of those teams that's like, oh my God, we have to play the Bears. Like, they can put up numbers on offense. It's going to be one of those games where if you think you can sleepwalk because they're the Bears of the past, they're going to hit you in the mouth and they're going to upset you. The Bears are my number 17 team for my power rankings. Number 16, moving on to the 49ers. Last year, they got hit so hard with the injury bug. Everybody was hurt, and yet Brock Purdy still put together a good season. Why I have them so low on this list is their defense. Their defense got kind of just destroyed. Brandon Ayuk is still hurt, and he's going to be on the PUP for probably 6 weeks. They got rid of Deebo Samuel, trading him to the Washington Commanders. Christian McCaffrey, I don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, he's going to play, but that injury last year seemed intense, and it seemed like it may have forced him into retirement. It was that bad. I don't know what's going to happen with the 49ers. While I think that they are a better team than the Cardinals and the Seahawks, I still think it may be tough sledding for them with everything that they lost. But when you have Kyle Shanahan and when you are able to scheme guys open like they can, they're going to win games. They're probably going to be a 500 team this year. Even better, I think their floor is 500. But right now, I could see them missing the playoffs. I could see them bursting onto the scene. They're one of those middle of the road teams for me right now, and it's just based off of what they lost. So, speaking of middle of the road teams, 500 every year, first round of the playoffs, getting bounced, that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them ahead of the 49ers right now because I think their defense is just elite. Cam Hayward, if he's playing, who knows, because he was being a baby about his contract. Re-signing TJ Watt, bringing in Jalen Ramsey. They still have Joey Porter Jr., Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith, Harmon on the team now, even though he's hurt. Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers, say what you want. They are going to be one of those just downhill running teams, quick passing, in rhythm with Aaron Rodgers. They just signed Jaylen Warren to an extension. Their offensive line is getting better. Last year, they needed time to gel. I think they're going to be able to figure that out with more time working together in camp. They're getting Troy Valtanu back, who was hurt last year. The offensive line, they suffered injuries last year. They're coming together. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to obviously be better. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers of the past. He's going to be better than what they had in Russell Wilson last year. The receiver situation, a little shoddy. Yes, you have DK Metcalf, but after that, wide receiver 2 is who? Scotty Miller. That kind of sucks, but the defense is going to win them games. Chris Boswell is going to win them games. He won them, 13 games last year? Not 13, but you get what I'm saying. Every game the Steelers won was because of Chris Boswell. So I like the Steelers, and I have them middle of the road because that's exactly where the Steelers are going to end up. Middle of the road, first round, probably going to get bounced. Number 14, we have the Houston Texans. Nico Collins, CJ Stroud, another year together. My biggest question with this team is their offensive line because they may have the defensive player of the year this year in Will Anderson. He is that good. The biggest question for this Texans team is the offensive line, but like I've been saying whenever I talked about all the other teams in this division, it's a very winnable division. They could just steamroll most of these teams. They're going to drop one here and there because, these teams play each other kind of scrappy, especially when you go down to Jacksonville. For some reason, none of these teams can figure it out in Jacksonville. But just in terms of talent, if they could figure out their offensive line situation, the Texans are going to win this division. And I think not easily, but maybe by a game or two. So I have the Texans as number 14 in my power rankings. Number 13, we are moving on to the Chargers, and they suffered a huge loss losing Rashawn Slater. That is a big loss for them. Najee Harris, I have no idea what's going on with him. Is he blind in his eye? He got hit with that firework incident, whatever. I don't know. They do lose Joey Bosa. He went to the Buffalo Bills. They do have Khalil Mack still. The defense is good. The running game is what's going to win them games. This is going to be, think of it as a toned down Pittsburgh Steelers on the defensive side of the ball, but a toned up Pittsburgh Steelers running the ball. O'Marion Hampton is a bruiser. Their offensive line is great. They have a better quarterback, Justin Herbert. They bring back Keenan Allen. They have Quentin Johnson still. Ladd McConkey is looking like a star in this league. I really like the Chargers. Again, the issue is the division that they play in right now. And, I haven't talked about most of those guys in the division. There are 2 teams that are ahead of them that are in that same division, but we'll get to them very soon. Number 12, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I go back and forth whether I think JJ McCarthy is going to be a good player in this league, because while he didn't have to really showcase his stuff at Michigan, because Michigan was just a ground and pound, run it at your face type team, this team is still very, very good. You saw what they did with Sam Darnold, and I don't think that they are going to be that much worse with JJ McCarthy than what they were with Sam Darnold. They still have Justin Jefferson. They have Aaron Jones. They bring in Jordan Mason. They still have a good offensive line. They have a good defense. They do lose Jordan Addison for a few games for a suspension, but I don't think that losing Sam Darnold and plugging in JJ McCarthy is worth that many losses. I think this is still going to be a very competitive team in the NFC North. I can see them winning 11 games. I can see them winning 8 games. There's really like a tough in between for them right now, because they do play in a very strong division where, again, just like the Chargers, there are 2 teams in their division that I have ahead of them, but they are one of those teams that they're going to be able to beat up on everybody who isn't the Packers and the Lions and maybe the Bears. They'll go back and forth, but the if you are a Vikings fan, don't think that plugging in JJ McCarthy is worth that many losses compared to losing Sam Darnold. I think they'll be very good this year. At number 11, and this team could be much, much higher, but I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase. They potentially have the MVP in the league in Joe Burrow and the Offensive Player of the Year in Jamar Chase. This team on the offensive side of the ball is going to be disgusting, and that's the problem. The only side of the ball that they are really good on is the offensive side of the ball. They would have been much higher on this list if they didn't get a deal done with Trey Hendrickson. That helps them out a ton because he was the sack leader last year. And they also got a deal done with Shamar Stewart. They are fixing the defense, but the defense is still very bad. They are going to be in shootouts, and they are going to win games 50 to 35. Like, it is going to be crazy. They would be much lower on this list in the power rankings if they're lower in terms of number, if their defense was just a little bit more stout. But their defense is suspect this year, and they could prove me wrong. They play in a tough division, but it is going to be shootout just city for them. They have potentially the best offense in all of the NFL, but their defense is so suspect. That's why I have them outside of the top 10. So we are moving on to my top 10 for the power rankings for this week going into the season. Before we do that, make sure you are going to hailmary.media. That is my brand new website where I put up blog posts, and you can sign up for my free newsletter, which I send out every Friday, where I give a free pick in the NFL, a free pick in college football. You get free content that subscribers are the only ones that can be able to see. But the good part about being a subscriber to my newsletter is that it's absolutely free. So check it out. Go to hailmary.media. Check out my new website. Check out our latest blogs, and check out everything that is going on with Hail Mary Media. All right, we are in the top 10 of our power rankings. And at number 10, I have the Rams. I love the Rams this year. They lose Cooper Kupp, but they bring in Devontae Adams, so that is like addition by subtraction, in my opinion. Matt Stafford, it's teetering on how bad his back is right now, and there's that whole conspiracy that he actually died and was reincarnated. I made a video about that, and people were calling for my head for some reason. Very stupid. It was just a fun video I made. But the Rams this year, good defense, very good offense. I like what they're going to be able to do. I think they're going to win that division of the NFC West. I like the Rams this year. I think they're going to be able to ball out, and they're sneakily a Super Bowl team, in my opinion. Number 9, I have the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos have the potential to possibly have the best defense this year. Patrick Surtain is the best corner right now in all of football. The guy is crazy. They have RJ Harvey now on the offensive side of the ball. They bring in J.K. Dobbins, losing Javonte Williams. Another year with Bo Nix, another year in this offensive system. Sean Payton, I think, is going to be able to unlock the potential of the Denver Broncos. While I don't think they're going to win this division, I think they are going to be neck and neck with the Chiefs, which obviously will be later on this list. But I very much like what the Broncos are doing, and they are going to be a very, very good team this year. Top 10 for sure. At number 8, I have a team that I think is going to win the division easily, and their offense is insane. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, Bucky Irving, Baker Mayfield, and it is the Bucs. I have them so high on this list because I think they are going to just run away and win that division of the NFC South. It's going to just be slim, easy pickings for them playing in that division. Saints, Falcons, Panthers. Yeah, it's going to be super easy. And then I think that they are going to be able to win games based on their offensive prowess alone. I very much like what the Bucs are going to be able to do this year. Number 7, I have the Washington Commanders. They could be higher on this list. I'm not saying that Jaden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump. I'm saying he's going to have a little bit of a regression. I made a video talking about that. People got mad at me. Listen, these defensive coordinators have more tape on him. They still bring in Deebo Samuel. They re-signed Terry McLaurin. They have a good offense as well. I like the Washington Commanders. Defense still a little bit suspect for me. They gave up 55 points in the NFC Championship game. Their defense, though, is still better than what the Bengals have. Their offense is very, very good. I like the Washington Commanders, but there's just some parts of that team that I think can get exposed. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a down year for Jayden Daniels. A little bit of a down year. I think it's going to be hard for this team to maybe get back to the NFC Championship game. We will see as the season goes along. It's a long season. But right now I have the Washington Commanders as the number 7 team in my power rankings. And number 6 is a team that is just vaulting up the rankings right now because of the biggest trade that has happened. I have the Green Bay Packers as number 6. This team right now, after trading for Micah Parsons, is a legit Super Bowl contender. The biggest question for them right now is their wide receiver situation. They have Matthew Golden. They have Christian Watson. And I really, really like Jordan Love. But it's can they break into that upper echelon? And having Micah Parsons will definitely help that. Can they be better than 2 of these teams that are ahead of them in the NFC? Which I'll just move on right now to the number 5 team, and that is the Detroit Lions, where they lost a lot. But you also have to think, this team last year made it as far as they did without possibly their best player in Aiden Hutchinson. They now get back at a healthy Aiden Hutchinson, and their defense just got a whole lot scarier. Sure, they lose Ben Johnson. Sure, he was an elite play caller. They still have weapons across the board right now. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. I mean, the list goes on for this team. And you still bring back a now healthy Aiden Hutchinson that is going to help out that defense and free up more on the defensive line, which is going to help out everything. Yeah, I think the Lions are winning this division. It's going to be close between them and the Packers, but I think that right now the Lions have the edge over the Packers for the division. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers can find a way to push through. But if I had to look right now for my power rankings on paper, I have the Detroit Lions. Moving on, number 4 is the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills could win the Super Bowl this year. They just got to get that monkey off their back, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. And they could beat them in the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs, I don't know why they cannot figure it out. Another year with their MVP quarterback, Josh Allen. Can he figure it out more with his wide receivers? That is the biggest question right now for them, in my opinion. Two questions. Can their wide receivers produce? Because they're still looking for that guy after they lost Stephon Diggs. But can they get the monkey off their back, which is the Kansas City Chiefs? We will see. And moving on to number 3, it is the Kansas City Chiefs. After getting bullied, dominated in the Super Bowl, that offensive line got exposed by the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. They shore up their offensive line in free agency. They do lose Rashee Rice, but one of the things with the Chiefs is it kind of doesn't matter who's playing wide receiver for them. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they are in a good spot. They need Patrick Mahomes, and they need good offensive line play. I think that they shored up their offensive line in the draft. I think they'll be perfectly fine. Their defense is still very good. They always have an elite defense every single year. I am not worried about the Kansas City Chiefs whatsoever. I think they fixed their problem, which is offensive line. And again, if they're in the Super Bowl again, it will not surprise me. I have the Chiefs as the number 3 team right now. Number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I think on paper, they are the most complete team in football. Just Derrick Henry. They have somebody who could win the MVP yet again, and that is Lamar Jackson. And their defense is just scary. I hate playing against the Ravens as a Steeler fan. They are so freaking good. Lamar Jackson is so scary. This Ravens team, I think, is the most complete team right now in the NFL. And the number one team, if you haven't guessed it yet, the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champions. Their offense is insane. They did lose a lot on the defensive side of the ball, but I still think that this is going to be a grinded out type team. They are going to be able to use Saquon Barkley less and still win games. I think Saquon Barkley is going to see a regression in his touches of about 10 to 15%. They now have A.J. Dillon. They now have Shipley, Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown. The defensive line is still crazy. Yes, they did lose pieces on the defensive side of the ball. That's just what happens when you win the Super Bowl, though. You start getting poached to your players. While they're not the most complete team in the NFL, I think they are the best team in the NFL, and they are going to be put on display tomorrow. Depends on when you're watching this video, but they are put on display for opening day for the NFL versus the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see if there's a Super Bowl hangover for this team, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles are still the best team in all of football. So yes, those are my rankings, 32 to number 1. Let me know if you like the structure of this, or do you think I should just do a top 10 every single week, or should I do my 32 all the way to number 1? Let me know. Be sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you're hitting that bell notification as well. Make sure you check out our podcast, The Hail Mary, that comes out every Monday and every Friday. And follow us on all of our short form platforms. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. We are everywhere. And like I said before in the middle of the video, go to hailmary.media. That is my latest website where you can check out blog posts, sign up for my free newsletter. Yeah, it is a great time over there. Please check it out, guys. hailmary.media. Thank you all. If you stuck around this late in the video, I hope you have a beautiful day. I will see you all on Friday for the Hail Mary. Have a beautiful week, everybody. Enjoy football. Peace.